So our next guest, he's the leader and co-founder of the Canadian Party of Quebec. A proud Canadian and Quebecer, he holds degrees from Harvard University and University of Oxford. He's built a career in senior roles within global health technology companies. So you know, he's a mover and shaker. He's tapped in with the tech people, improving patient care and system performance across Canada and internationally. In his political role, Mr. Cian champions bilingualism, inclusion, modernization of public services, and the protection of constitutional and minority rights in Quebec. He was unanimously elected party leader of the Canadian Party of Quebec in 2025. We'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Joseph Cian. How you doing, King?
Thank you very much. And loving this high energy Friday morning with you.
I feel like we had a pre-interview before the interview.
It's always good to see you.
You be always having pre-interviews.
I know, right?
Off the bat, though, my condolences, your mentor and Mr. Williams, I believe.
Yeah, man, Osmond Williams, man, good dude from the community. Yeah, it's tough, a lot of people in the Black community are fighting their own personal health issues, and some of them, I didn't even know, and then you just get the call. This is life, man.
Yep.
This is life. But you have a very important role.
Oh, yes.
Leader and co-founder of the Canadian Party of Quebec. So let's open up there. For those that are not informed, what is the Canadian Party of Quebec?
Absolutely. So the Canadian Party of Quebec has been around since 2022. We registered it right before the election, so we didn't have a huge amount of time to publicize it before the last one, but its genesis was really with the Task Force on Linguistic Policy. So my friend Colin Standish and I, we started that basically just to speak to Bill 96. We read it the day it came out and the day it was unanimously voted for by all parties who have different narratives now. But we read it because what their vote did made sure that no one read it in the public, and so it all went to the back room. And it was pretty concerning. And, we started to see the commentary on it. Honest to God, the first 3-4 pages is like a testament to identity politics and cutting off the majority of the population. And we weren't seeing any of that commentary. And I mean from anybody in the media, anyone writing on it. So we had to do something. We did that. That put a big deposition into the Assemblée Nationale, tried to gain some attention. I remember the CAC published, a full-page article in the Gazette basically denying that there'd be issues with healthcare.
Yeah.
So we saw what happened with that 2 years later. 3 years later. It's all on the paper, right? You just have to read the law.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a disillusioning experience, trying to come in from the think tank angle. Like, hey, let's just put good information out there.
Yeah.
And it'll be received.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now there's the two other dimensions you got to play the game on, right? And that's kind of the political angle. And I'm no professional politician, as you will tell by the end of this interview. But, it's very important to have the people have a voice, if only because that's funding. Right? When we vote for parties that don't represent our views, we are literally, every vote is an amount of money they get every year to run their messaging. So when that messaging is supporting nationalism, supporting division, doesn't matter what party you put your vote with, if they aren't representing those principles, they're not representing you while they're spending your tax.
Yeah.
That was not an acceptable situation to me and a lot of the people around me. So that was a lot of the basis for the party. Honestly, practically speaking, I think we just don't have a democracy in Quebec.
That's true.
First past the post voting, and a media conglomerate on the francophone side, and a total lack of resources on the anglophone side to get investigative with goodwill.
Yeah, because we know how the they'd be pulling old photos of a group of racialized kids, and it's like saying that it's from one thing and it's like from years ago. Yeah, we definitely understand how those media.
The Dawson protest. So the Journal de Montréal headline was hundreds of demonstrators. Right, we're like 10,000 people in the street. Right? Hundreds of demonstrators.
Yeah.
Right at the top of that, which it might go away now, but if you right at the top of that, there's a video. That's the last time I spoke to TVA. I don't think that the message of unity and inclusion is what they want to hear. Right? They want to paint our community, which firstly we don't have a community. English is a language.
Yeah.
We're a mosaic of many different communities, many different priorities, many different cultures, many different sets of values, which correspond to our central culture, where we all agree, right? Merit, the idea of the golden rule, the idea of
like values,
but not values, culture versus culture. Values like, can my grandmother go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Right. Like, is my
can
daughter
the doctor
getting
see me
educated?
on time? Yeah.
Yeah. Can we get a job? Being who we are, or do we have to pretend to be someone else?
Yeah. Or change our last name on a CV. Yeah. Facts. Well, that leads to actually my next question, because, you know, under your leadership plan, you do speak a lot about protecting minority language rights, right? And I love Canadian Party of Quebec because, you know, often Canadian Quebec in the same sentence.
It doesn't even exist. It don't exist.
It's a paradox.
That's part of the problem.
You know what I mean? It's a paradox. You know, and a lot of people who I identify with those identities don't feel as Quebecois as they should, right? But under, like, how does CAPQ, under your leadership, plan to ensure English-speaking, allophone, and other racialized communities aren't left behind when provincial policy changes hit hard?
Yeah, so I think, again, it starts on the practical and it starts on the philosophical. Right now, our voting system really doesn't work for the people. And as much as every party has pretended they're about voting reform, like, we are getting to the 11th hour of needing to do voting reform, right? Like, this is a matter of, look at Montreal, right? You got sort of 60% of the population. They call it 57, not counting all the undocumented or the unvoted, right? But 60% of the population, 55% of the tax, right? You know what's going on with the infrastructure here and with our systems, and we just don't have a voice. Yeah, and insofar there are parties who collect our votes and then let the rest of the parties worry about the regions, dilute any of that voice. Like, this cycle has been played so many times. You all know it's crumbling now, right? Whether it's hospitals, whether it's education, whether it's the roads. And I have a very mixed family, so I get to see all kinds of pockets of Quebec, which I love. You know, I'll drive out to Victoriaville, where ironically no one can speak English anymore, right?
No.
A town known for Queen Victoria 100 years ago was all Anglophone farmers. They don't know that, number one, that's what that town was 100 years ago. They don't know the history. Number two, you know, they don't know anything about the rest of the province, right? And so it's really easy to not understand the other side, the coercion that they're facing on that side
by keeping people in silos, communities in silos, boroughs, municipalities, all that.
So you don't need to be the leader of a party. You don't even need to be elected to be working on that, right? But I think when you have that seat, you can really give it a lot more emphasis and underline it. So I think we need a level of politics that's back to that vision. We've got a bunch of pragmatists right now who aren't pragmatically working for the people. You know, they're pragmatically finding the next headline, finding a hot button issue, finding ways to corner
being a
votes.
content creator.
But, you know, it can be for good or bad. We have to accept there's the human element.
Facts.
You know, we like a little bit of tribalism one way or another. We like a little bit of
inherent to us, yes.
But we've always been able, throughout history, to rally around that. You know, if you look at, like you said, waves, right? With different empires, different sorts of societies, right? There are ones that were closed. It's my culture. I forced that on you. There are ones that were open, which is, hey,
everybody come.
we're going to build roads together. You're going to keep your king. You're going to keep your religion. You keep your language, and we're going to have trade. And you know what? That wasn't like magic. You know, the Romans kind of figured that out a few thousand years ago. It worked for a long time, and then for 1,000 years it took to catch back up to that. Nowadays we study that. You know, so you've got economists like Benjamin Friedman who've published The Moral Consequences of Economic Growth. It sounds negative, but the consequence of economic growth,
it's like a progress trap.
Openness. Exactly. It's openness to other cultures. It's the space to actually connect. When we do it this way, and our government is whittling everything down, right? We're sort of spending money we're not making, so we're feeling pressures everywhere.
But it's also a lack of transparency. And also it's a lack of knowing. Like, if the people, like, first of all, when you get your money into your checking account and the minute 1 cent is gone, there's a lot of people, when I used to work at the bank, they would call literally for 1 cent, a penny, and they would tell me, if the bank does that to a million accounts, that 1 penny each. So I hear it, right? We're very on top of it when it's with our money, but this is also our money, and I think the lack of knowing is why a lot of community members aren't as implicated. Because I think the whole political solution is for more of us to be implicated in it, right? And because there's not more of us in those spaces, people who aren't us are making decisions for us.
There is no diversity of opinion in the Assembly. You have 5 nationalist or separatist parties to choose from. You know, from the Liberals on one end to the PQ.
The lesser of evils, right?
Like, let's be clear. You know, Jean Lesage, the Révolution Tranquille, all that's got nothing to do with Bourassa post Liberal Party. Right. That's the party that Clifford Lincoln need to resign from, right? Because rights are rights are rights, and they just will never get it. And now you've got this coercion in Quebec. It's hard to speak your mind, right? If you want a job, if you want to be promoted, if you want to be... That's, I mean, I don't need to tell you about that experience, but one thing I'll say, credible or not, is we all face it here unless you've got the right last name, the right friends, right? So then you have to set your life up elsewhere economically, right? Like you said, I work on U.S. healthcare. There's a reason. You know, I couldn't get an interview here. Right? I've worked in a lot of countries at the top of a lot of different industries. Not here.
just
But at
different
home.
Yeah, not at home.
There's a ceiling placed in the community.
Not at home. No. You're a little bit too English.
Yeah.
Not at home.
And this, it's not in anyone's interest. So to bring it back to the numbers, right? Like, if you really think about it, we got 1.5 million voters who kind of support nationalism, sovereignty, and even then, if they knew more about the issues, would they? Right, so we're about to have a fake referendum where it's like, let's assume all the benefits of Canada are there and we just have our own country. We can't have that discussion again. We got to have a real discussion. Let's assume Quebec right now can barely issue any credit without Canada. We've already been downgraded internationally. Let's assume it has its own dollar. What is that worth? How are we going to trade? I mean, this is a disaster.
Hey,
and for those of us who
I never
the
even
90s,
thought of that. What would our Quebec dollar be worth?
No, for sure. You want to separate. I don't want to be part of Canada. I want to be my own thing. Okay, you can get your dollar.
Well, how much
what do we trade? We have water, we have timber, but I mean,
right now we have deficits. Right, we ran a $14 billion deficit last year, on top of bringing in $16 billion of welfare for the rest of the country, which they love us for, by the way. If you're paying attention to national unity elsewhere. So that means you're burning $3,500 a citizen a year, right? And that's about 8-9% of the average income. You can't do that. Right. Same thing. We're just not having a realistic conversation about how we're running this province. Like, I want the services too. But 20 years ago, that statement was also true. And so we've just watched this spiral go
in
down,
circle,
down and down.
And before, like, we were on air, you were talking about foreign policy, and I want to trickle back onto that. So to have our listeners kind of tap into what you were saying in terms of, your stance on that and the direction that it's been going and what it will take to bring us back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's foreign policy, but it is just kind of philosophy of government, right? It's sort of, how do you make a society fair and competitive again? And we've got every advantage you can ask for in Quebec. We've got an incredibly diverse society of access to multiple languages, multiple cultures, multiple belief sets, and we have a society that ultimately wants to run a secular society for the benefit of the people. We have, however, a political elite and a few different sort of tribes that have taken hold of the power mechanisms that aren't interested in that.
Yeah.
And, I think that's the message.
They have their ulterior motives.
Everybody wants to do good for them. And let's not doubt it. Let's accept it as part of the system and make sure that we control it properly. And I think that's one of the problems here is we've kind of let it go. We've excused a lot. So you see a lot of actions out of the National Assembly that are symbolic. And a lot of people have given up fighting them, but it matters because words matter and intention matters. And when you're constantly hammering home, Quebec is only French, Quebec is only this, Quebec is only, you're only recognizing one portion of the population's history, it matters.
You isolate and ostracize the rest.
But it's also disingenuous because Quebec is not only French.
I know.
Like, one of the questions me and Tata always bring up here, and maybe you might have a more elaborate or intricate response, is that me and Tata were second generation Quebecers, so our parents came from the islands.
I'm first.
And
You're first.
Yeah,
too.
first. My bad. You mix it up. So we're first generation Quebecers. So our parents came up from the islands, and we're here. We don't fit into this conversation. I mean, where they keep talking about French, but I'm born here.
Yep.
I view myself as a Quebecer. I speak fluent French. I speak fluent English. I'm a born Quebecer. Where do I fit into this plan? Because I hear Legault talk, I hear that these parties talk, and it's like they only want to highlight white francophones that are here, but I'm born here. I don't know nothing else. Yep. Yes, I know my Caribbean roots. Yes, I've been to the islands, but I know Quebec. I came up on poutine and hockey. You know what I mean? But my mom couldn't afford the hockey equipment.
But at the same time, they could only highlight what they know, and what they don't know that they don't know.
No, but it's impossible. It's impossible, as ignorant as you want to be.
Yeah.
If you're a CAC supporter, if you're a francophone nationalist or whatever they're called now, how could you ignore the fact that there are kids that are born here that aren't Caucasian, that are going to have West Indian roots?
To them, that's not the Quebec ideology. That's not the Quebec. If someone would say, like, describe to me your ideal Quebecois, what do they look like?
They can't even answer that because they have this whole program about promoting Quebec values. And me and Tata said here for I think we've been saying for 2 years, what is Quebec values?
What's the Quebec identity?
Yeah, what's the Quebec identity? Nobody knows.
Well, I hate what they've done to the word multiculturalism.
I
mean, come on. There's such a stupidity. Like, multiculturalism is not about, you losing your culture or imposing like what we have now, this almost colonialist
This is interculturalism.
of imposing the majority's culture. And by the way, it's the majority's culture. No matter how much they want to call themselves the minority, that's one of the biggest problems is they're trying to fight as this white francophone minority and say, hey, this is firstly a majority territory for that people, and secondly, you don't defend that by being the worst possible enemy you could imagine, right?
Yeah.
And so there are some facts, like you're saying, like Montreal, is it a bilingual city, is it a unilingual city? And people go, Jean Mance, like, this is not Ville-Marie, this is Montreal, founded in 1839 under the British with a bilingual charter, a flag that recognizes multiple people. Because at that point, this was a 70% Anglophone place. Prior to that, yes, it was a Jesuit outpost that, we can talk to the Iroquois about their experience with Ville-Marie. But I mean, it's not the city creation project that's been happening here for 200 years amongst many people. Now, can you know that if you're from 60 kilometers out of Montreal, the most diverse greater urban center in the Americas, complemented with the least diverse rural area?
All around it?
All around it. And so, these issues, like, again, you boil it down to language, because we've got professional politicians who have made billions of dollars cornering off their regions, owning all the businesses, and playing this subsidy game. You guys talked about it before, monopolies and the telcos, right?
Yeah.
Canadian business, right? It says monopolies from Paris, monopolies from London, monopolies from Ottawa. That has its effect, right? And in a province where it's all aerospace, i.e. we refine steel using cheap electricity, right? We're not doing the value-added piece on any of these industries. And agriculture, you go out from the city, you're talking about 5 or 10 business people who own everything and everybody, right? And that concentration of power and that coercion to speak your mind has run its course. The reality is they're losing too now, right? They can't get anyone to work on the farm. They can't get anyone to work at the plant. Like, now is a great moment to be bringing people together pragmatically. You can live 100 kilometers from here. We can have the same rural-urban divide we see in every city market in the world. You can even hate me, but we got to learn how to actually make Quebec successful. Like, you want to be autonomous? Like, we're not autonomous by taking $20 billion of welfare a year from Canada and blowing 15 in deficit, while failing to deliver education and healthcare. Like, roll this picture forward.
That he wrapped up this show in one sentence. You were listening since 7.
And you know what? I'm talking too much here, but I know you guys, you want to talk immigration too, and I just want to...
No, you have 5 minutes. Do the thing. No, you go where you want to go. Let's talk about immigration. I want to better understand what's the problem. I'm a regular person. Layman's term. I'm thinking I live somewhere. People want to come from other places. It's cool. It's cool. Obviously, that's not how this thing works.
I mean, and it shouldn't, right? Like, an open border, you can't really have. You got to be able to bring people in. You got to accommodate them properly. We need to be able to integrate people well, which, by the way, doesn't mean
force and French.
Force them out of their culture and force them to adopt, right? Like, the culture is established by everybody. But again, it's not as discretionary as we talk, right? By not addressing the immigration file properly, we create a lot of these other problems. So pure math. Quebec has a 1.4 birth ratio. So every woman can be allotted a 1.4 expectation. You need 2.1 in terms of babies to just maintain the population, right? So you take that 0.7, you multiply it across our 4 million or 4.5 million, it's 3.2 million babies missing, right? Over about 25 years, 30 years of fertility, right? So 100 to 120,000 a year. That is the level of immigration Quebec needs, either from Canada or any other place, to sustain its population. And in a system that's more a welfare state than not, where we fund everything from public tax, it's really important not to invert that pyramid more than it's been inverted already. We used to have 6 people paying tax for every person in a long-term care facility or hospital. Now it's 2 people. Not. It's 2 people in a hospital are collecting welfare for every 1 person working.
And people are confused because a lot of people who are on social assistance are born Quebecers.
Yes, born Quebecers, because we are not creating, again, from an educational standpoint, are we preparing them for this economy? Are we preparing them even for urban migration? I mean, let's be honest about Montreal. If there's an immigration problem, it's every 30 years we get hit by a wave of young, well-intentioned Quebecers coming to Montreal to make their success, but they might not have gotten the education or the training that they needed to really make it go of it. It's probably also the first time they hear English in their life. And so it becomes a really easy target.
And then we get international students who are trained at the highest degree in their country who come here, who are forced to do these menial jobs while they're doing a PhD in engineering. And people are looking at the menial job that they're being forced to do and saying, they're taking our work.
And then OQLF comparing that poor Korean student who's doing engineering work on our agricultural needs, was serving me a salad and I heard them speak English. That's what we're worried about.
Like You have to come back.
Yeah.
This has been one of the most informative conversations we had
for real.
with a political.
I love the whole program. I want to talk monopolies. I want to talk telco.
No.
Elderly versus bikers. That's
no. We gotta get you to come back because we have Jasmine coming in and he's a stickler for time. He wants to start at 9. But man, this has been a very informative. I told you season 8.
It. CAPQ. Canadian Party of
How
Quebec.
can I vote? How can I sign up? But anyways.
Vote. That's what you gotta do.
We'll talk off air. We'll set a date. You have to come back. We'll give you more room because now we see what you're working with. You're well spoken.
And the way you explain that, a lot of people don't understand. So it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly believe we're the 6 million and they're the 3. And if there was more information out there, that's the 1.
Yeah.
We got to get the 8 million of Quebec standing up and heard and together because Canada doesn't know who we are.
Yeah.
The international community doesn't know who they are. They just know the nationalists.
Yeah.
No, don't worry. He'll be back. This has been a good one. More detail. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday.